This is the Strait of Malacca. The tiny region allows 80% of China's oil imports to pass through. The Strait of Malacca is the shortest and hence the cheapest route between the Middle East and the Asian markets. If this strait closes for even a single week, China could lose up to $64 million. So for China, this is a lifeline for its economy, but there's one issue with it. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Malacca is just 2.8 kilometers. So if a bunch of bulky aircraft carriers park at this point, they could easily choke the second busiest economy on Earth. And since China has made quite a few enemies, the threat to its economy is ever present. Hence, the country has decided to invest $65 billion in creating an alternative route. It will use the port of Gwadar in Pakistan to trade with the rest of the world. Goods will be unloaded in Pakistan and sent to China using the railway. The project is officially called the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC for short. Under this initiative, China will create a 3,000-kilometer network between both countries. Without this corridor, an oil shipment would have to travel 12,000 kilometers before reaching China. CPEC reduces this distance to just 2,000 kilometers. China and Pakistan share an all-weather friendship, and this project is yet another example. While both countries are friends and neighbors, China is miles ahead of Pakistan in terms of infrastructure. Pakistan's infrastructure is a mess. The roads are broken, the railway is inefficient, and the ports are poorly developed. Hence, by collaborating with a powerhouse like China, Pakistan has a chance to turn the tables. Let's review what China is getting for $65 billion and how successful this investment was. Gwadar is the star of this project. Its connection to the Arabian Sea allows easy access to Europe, the Middle East, and the rest of the world. Gwadar gained strategic importance after the Kargil War when Pakistan recognized the need for a military port. The port was completed in 2007 and handed to China in 2013. China plans to create the port and the surrounding region into a special economic zone. Businesses in the zone will be exempt from customs authorities and many provincial and federal taxes. Gwadar is located in the poorest province in the entire country, Balochistan. The creation of a bustling port city meant thousands of jobs, new roads, health facilities, and so much more. In December of 2024, Pakistan announced that Gwadar Port had achieved its full operational capacity. The port is equipped to handle various types of cargo, including containers and bulk goods. Despite this good news, Gwadar Port remains underutilized. In 2023, only 17 ships docked at Gwadar. For context, the nearby Hambantota port in Singapore handled more than 400 ships in the same year. Gwadar has also failed to attract any regular deep-sea shipping lanes. What could be the reason behind this? You see, Gwadar Port is a deep-sea port located at an ideal location. So why is no one using it? While Gwadar Port is at the right place at the right time, it still has a long way to go before it can compete with the top ports in the world. To explain this, look at this aerial snapshot of the port. As expected, it looks pretty much empty. At present, Gwadar has only 3 berth facilities and relies entirely on trucks for transportation. On the other hand, most advanced ports use railways to transport cargo in bulk. There have been plans to create a railway linking Gwadar to China, but the progress is limited. However, China isn't letting go of Gwadar anytime soon. There are plans to expand the port's capacity by adding 100 berths by 2045. This would allow Gwadar Port to handle 400 million tons annually in the future. So it's too early to write off Gwadar. Due to its strategic location, the port can come in very handy in the future. The next project on the list is the Orange Line Metro. It's Pakistan's first ever metro and serves the city of Lahore. The project falls under the CPEC initiative, and hence the cost was divided among both countries. Lahore is one of the oldest cities in Pakistan and the largest one in the Punjab province. It has a population of 14 million people, and hence a citywide transit was the need of the hour. The metro network has a total length of 27 kilometers and features 27 train sets. Except for 2 underground stations, the entire metro network, including the stations, is built on elevated viaducts. The lowest fare on the metro is 25 rupees, equivalent to just $0.09 US. In this way, millions of Lahoris now have access to a cheap and efficient form of transportation. The Orange Line cost around $1.65 billion to build. China supported 52% of the cost, and Pakistan bore the remaining. The Orange Line revolutionized travel for millions in Lahore, but Lahore isn't the only urban center embracing change. This next project takes us to Karachi, Pakistan's largest city. Now, this particular project has a fascinating history, perhaps because it's the only one that would be inaugurated twice. It's called the Karachi Circular Railway. This railway was first commissioned in 1964 and remained an effective mass transportation system until 1984. As its name indicates, was a circular railway network spanning across Karachi. It was ultimately abandoned since few people used it, and the resulting losses were astronomical. To this day, you will find abandoned tracks in Karachi that were once part of the circular railway system. When the CPEC was signed, the KCR was revived once again. The KCR is important for a few reasons. Karachi has a population of 20 million, so even on a normal day, the roads look like this. Despite being the largest city and contributing 25% to the nation's GDP, there's no universal transport network present. Karachiites either rely on their cars or the outdated buses that tour the city. It's important to note that Karachi is in the process of developing its metro, and few of its sections are operational. However, it will still take years for the metro to cover all parts of the city. Considering the city's desperate situation, the provincial government along with China plans to revive the project. The KCR is a 43-kilometer-long railway network. It will connect the city's diverse landscape, including industrial zones, residential neighborhoods, and bustling commercial districts. The estimated cost is pegged at $1.9 billion and will transport 500,000 passengers daily. In 2016, it was reported that Japan was ready to finance the revival of KCR. However, there are a few hurdles in the way. Since the KCR would be built on its historic route, many of the tracks are now encroached on by illegal settlements. A key priority is rehabilitating those to make way for the train. The project also has to be built on an elevated platform, since most of Karachi is too crowded on the ground. KCR awaits federal approval, and once completed, it would completely change the face of Pakistan's largest city. Now, CPEC isn't just limited to roads and infrastructure. China is also heavily investing in Pakistan's energy sector. CPEC's website shows that China is overseeing 21 power projects in the country, costing a total of $33 billion. This investment is critical since Pakistan suffers from an energy crisis. Some parts of the country would suffer 6 to 7 hours of blackouts, while industries would have to rely on electricity generators to meet their needs. Without a stable energy supply, many CPEC projects can't operate. So to bridge this gap, the government has launched several energy power plants. One of the earliest and most significant ones is the Sahiwal coal plant. This plant has an installed capacity of 1,320 megawatt, ranking it as number 3 in the nation. The Sahiwal plant is located 12 miles from Sahiwal in the Punjab province. Given the project's scale, the plant consumes an estimated 5 million tons of coal each year. The coal primarily comes from Indonesia and, to a lesser extent, from South Africa. While Pakistan has its own coal reserves in Thar, that coal contains an excessive amount of sulfur and lime. Hence, it's not considered suitable for this project. The Sahiwal power plant cost around $1.8 billion to build. China holds the majority of its shares, but will transfer its ownership to Pakistan after 30 years. The project was widely praised for its short construction time and for revolutionizing the energy sector in Pakistan. It can produce 9 billion kilowatt hours of electricity annually, which alone can power 4 million households. Power cuts were reduced from 6 hours to just 3 hours after the plant's inauguration. Closely following the Sahiwal plant, we have a similar project in Karachi. It has the same capacity as the Sahiwal plant and was completed just a year after it. The project is located 37 kilometers east of Karachi in Port Qasim. We are referring to the Port Qasim power plant. It consists of two 600-megawatt power plants. Each has its own boiler, steam turbine, and generator. This plant is also powered by coal, just like the one in Sahiwal. The energy generated could power 3 to 4 million households and will be supplied to Pakistan's national grid. That's good, but why did they create this plant at a port? There are a few reasons for this. Any coal plant generates an awful amount of gases. The port's location away from the city center makes it an ideal spot for the plant. Moreover, this plant relies on coal for its operation. The imported coal is directly unloaded at the port's jetty and sent to the coal yard by a belt conveyor. This strategic placement not only optimizes operations but also showcases the foresight involved in planning such projects under CPEC. Speaking of CPEC, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. It has been almost 10 years since it was launched in 2015, when Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Pakistan. Even though it was his first visit, he remarked that it felt like he was visiting his brother's home. China frequently uses terms like iron brothers and all-weather friends to describe its relationship with Pakistan. But beyond this emotional chaos, did CPEC live up to its hype? And to what extent did it benefit China and Pakistan? Let's start with China's story. China launched CPEC as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. If you don't know what that is, it's a global project to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of trade routes. So this would be like the 21st century Silk Road. CPEC, like many others, was a mini project under the Belt and Road Initiative. However, only a few of its projects were completed due to the political instability in Pakistan. When the Pakistani government changed in 2018, it was a huge blow to CPEC. The country's new Prime Minister, Imran Khan, was highly critical of the project. He believed that CPEC gave China an unfair advantage over Pakistan. Under his leadership, only 3 CPEC projects were completed in Gwadar. The security issues in Balochistan also slowed down progress further. In the past years, there have been a series of attacks against Chinese nationals and their projects. In 2018, Baloch rebels claimed an assault on the Chinese consulate in Karachi. This made China's presence in Pakistan utterly challenging. Unless the security issues aren't resolved, it's hard for most projects to go forward. So it is safe to say that CPEC wasn't exactly a win-win China or Pakistan might have hoped for. However, Pakistan's current government has a pro-CPEC vision, so it's possible that in the upcoming years, we will see more progress on this front. In the meantime, if you are interested in other Chinese projects, we have a series of videos just for you.